going, I've got the list of things we're gonna talk through. So,
Yeah.
Zane, thanks for taking some time to chat. What's this all about? What are we
Well, first,
doing?
thanks for you reaching out. I was pretty excited when I saw that because I've, sort of had the same thing brewing in the back of my head for a while. Just like, there's got to be some other accountants that can just have a conversation.
Well, Zane, thanks so much for taking some more time. I know we had a chance to chat last time about a number of things, similarities, differences between our two firms, and we wanted to, keep the conversation going. And this time, maybe talk a little bit more about, the sales, the marketing aspect, some more other maybe business structure pieces that we didn't get to cover last time.
Yeah, definitely the stuff that people want to hear about, how people do it. Sure, it'll create a lot of opinions. People are like, that is so stupid. I don't know why you do that. Because everybody has an opinion and their way is the best way. I guess that's how you get, clicks and likes and views and all those the great things. So this should be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so why don't we start off talking about similarities and or differences in our individual marketing strategies? Do you want to get us started with that? Like how you guys approach marketing your business and what you have seen has worked best as you've grown your firm?
Yeah, sure. I mean, when it comes to marketing, a lot of what we do is focus in specifically on brand recognition.
Hmm.
That's sort of been with everything we do, it's the underlying sort of source of information and the way we handle everything. I'm not necessarily trying to make a sale out of every marketing push I do. I use LinkedIn on a daily basis. Like, I don't expect to make a sale through LinkedIn. Like, that's not why I'm there. But it is part of a brand recognition. It is creating a voice that we know what we're talking about. And so everything that we do in a marketing standpoint is very much focused on brand recognition.
Mm. Yeah. And so when you're talking about brand recognition, it sounds like for your situation, like you said, like LinkedIn, I know you guys do a little bit of YouTube. It sounds like all of those are essentially your way of just investing in the overall brand recognition of Protea Financial. Is that right?
Correct. So, we're going to get referrals from, mid-sized to larger CPA firms, and they're going to be putting out this name, Protea Financial and Zane, and it's just like, who are these random people? And what I found in the early times, there was just a lot of people, a lot of schools like, I've never heard of you guys. Tell me who you are. And you're like, okay, this is who we are. This is what we do. And by sort of having different initiatives, doing some limited, print adverts in some of the wine industry publications, sponsoring events, having a Facebook page, having a LinkedIn page, having my personal LinkedIn page, all of a sudden it's like, not that people are like know exactly who we are, but they're like, I feel like I've seen that name somewhere before, and then they just carry on. Like, there's just less questions, even though they probably know just as little as they did before about us. There's not like, I've never heard of you, please explain to me who you are. Now it's more just like, okay, tell me how you do things. And it creates a very different narrative, and it makes the sales calls very, very different.
Yeah, I imagine so. It's like I've heard it likened to kind of like a social lubricant because it's not necessarily going to stop you. It's not going to keep you from being able to make a sale per se, but it does help to make it happen maybe easier. It doesn't take as much selling for sure on that front. So that makes a lot of sense. But I imagine like early on that wasn't necessarily your experience, right? Like how did you scale at the beginning?
So we didn't do any advertising for the first 4 years.
Oh,
Not a
wow.
not a single penny was spent. I barely did any reach out. To tell the truth, our biggest partner and referral partner, which is a mid-size CPA firm, didn't even know who I was until midway through our 5th year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just like I didn't do anything. We relied very much on our network, specifically my business partners, their network and their friends' networks, and just conversations with our clients. And they're like, oh, I've got a friend that maybe you can help them. And it was very much purely word of mouth. And we just saw growth over time before we decided to go out and be like, okay, we're going to do some true reach out. I'm going to understand who are these CPA firms, who are these bankers, What are these events that I should at least be showing my face to? And quickly with conversations, with proof of concept. Again, we're very different because we have an office in another country. We work remotely. I mean, obviously that was 5 years ago was still a big deal. Never go to our clients' offices. I mean, I've got clients I've never even seen their faces, and we could take the proof of concept, like, hey, this is what we do, this is how we do it. And we have this book of clients that are already happy, they've been here for a long time, and now we can push that message out a little further.
That's great. And I'm glad you talked about that, the referral network and just like word of mouth referrals. Because like honestly, I think that's probably for the people who are listening. I'm going to imagine the vast majority of the people are either currently doing that or have heard other people find that to be the most successful avenue for marketing their business. But you mentioned something else that I think doesn't get talked enough about. So you talked about word of mouth referrals, but you also said you had conversations with your clients. You had conversations with these people that you wanted to be serving. And did you find that as you were doing that, was it primarily like working through a network like LinkedIn? Was it like going to networking events? Like where did you find those people to have those conversations?
So really it was just sort of looking at our book of clients and being like, who are their major service providers? And especially obviously because of the industry, a lot of people do need, lines of credits because they need cash in specific periods of time. So I was looking like, okay, we've got these 35 clients, who are the banks they're using? And of those 10 banks, how many of them do we see significant lending relationships? Okay, it's down to 5. Great, let's find out who these people are, talk to our network and see if we can get introductions and just start talking to them.
Interesting. Yeah, those are the partners, the people who they themselves aren't necessarily going to be the clients, but they've got the first, they're like the main contact for that client. That's really interesting. Did you ever go through the process of having, call it like conversational prospecting, where you're talking with these people who aren't customers yet? They're not approaching you, but you're going out there and approaching them to kind of warm the relationship. Potentially.
We haven't done really any cold reach out.
Okay.
We considered it a few times, and honestly, like every time I looked at it, I was like, this is just dumb. Like I don't want people reaching out to me, so why would these people want reaching out to them?
Yeah.
I mean, the only sort of one that we did for a period of time, not very long, to sort of look at the, there's like one of the wine publications has like a job posting website. So you just sort of look and be like, okay, this winery is looking for a bookkeeper. Maybe we'll sort of reach out or even respond to it.
Yeah.
We tried it a few times, and maybe we reached out to 10 of those at first and got like one person who was like, oh, okay, I'm willing to have a conversation. So I've always felt a little weird about it. I think in general the professional service space is just a weird space in terms of selling. I think when you're selling bigger services and you're targeting companies where audit is important and things like that, it's a different conversation. But I think the general day-to-day like services, it really is, brand recognition is important, but there needs to be some way to show your expertise. And that's sort of where like, we have a weekly blog post, and that writing is important because it shows people that we understand what we're talking about. That's, I think, where it's a very important and powerful tool for people nowadays, is if you can use LinkedIn successfully and you can put your knowledge there and create an audience and you can create impressions over there, that can be really important as well. Because if somebody is like, okay, I want to look at, Protea, let me go look at Zane. Oh, he's got a lot of people. Is that just, purchased? Or, oh, no, actually he's got some content and there's quite a lot of conversation going on here. So other people must think he knows what he's talking about, so maybe I can trust him as well. I think that's a lot of it. And unless you're sort of an attorney who does, like you got hit by a car, let's go get you some money type case, and you can put up these catchy billboards on the side of the highway, it's really hard to sort of sell services without sounding like a total douchebag at times, I think.
Yeah.
It's weird to sort of like put up a thing like, what am I going to do? Put up a billboard on the side of, the 101 that runs through wine country and be like, the best winery accountants in the business, you better work with us. Like, it's just, it doesn't work, right? It's, I think it's sort of, you have to find ways to show your expertise. And, I know a lot of people like chase awards for that, right? Like I think that's a place where people can do it as well, or being invited on podcasts. Like there's just different ways to show it.
Yep.
And I think people appreciate that more nowadays. Like I want to make sure that this person can stand up and talk to people about a topic. Because if they can stand up and talk about it, they probably can do it as well. Especially if it's done with, very authentically, and it doesn't feel like the person's forcing what they're doing.
Right.
I think it becomes a lot interesting. I mean, it's such a weird space with marketing and getting new clients. All at the end of the day, it's sort of who you know, do people like you, and can people trust you?
Yeah. No like and trust. No like trust. No like trust. That's what all the marketing people chant. So